to use yesterday. I really do not know. I tried to still try it yesterday, but it was still giving me an error. So, but I don't want us to stay too much, stay too long on that. But I will just, like I explained yesterday, what the bulk insert is doing is just to insert a record. You can use it to insert a record, but there is other way you can go about it, right? I think I showed you yesterday, but we'll still check it as well, the other way around how we can insert data into the SQL server without using. You can decide to use the bulk insert, and you might not use the box. If the bulk insert works for you, the syntax is correct. The syntax is correct. It's just that the file that I'm trying to load, I think there are some issues with the maybe data type and all. And one of the problems with SQL Server is that SQL generally is that data type is very, very important. So please, you can just, master the query, the syntax in case you want to try it as well in your own hand. But it's not working at the moment for me. So let's just ignore it so that we won't take much of our time on this section. But you can try it in your own. So let me just copy let me copy it for you guys. I will drop it for you so you can try it. It will work. It can work for you, but I know that the syntax is correct, but it's just that maybe the file that I'm trying to load is not the right data type. So you can try it. I've copied the syntax for you. You can try it at your own hand. Okay, so let's go straight to this. What exactly we are supposed to do today. And I think one of the things is someone has a question yesterday, a very valid question yesterday, and I told the person that we'll definitely look at it today. Sorry, I think there's a spelling error here. Sorry for this. I think there's a spelling error in your constraint. Okay. So today we'll be looking at data validation or SQL constraints. So, but before we dive into the data validation or SQL constraints, can anybody tell me, do you know data validation in Excel? Did you guys do something like data validation during your Excel class? Can you type yes if you guys did something around data validation in Excel class, or you have heard of data validation or data constraints in SQL before? So can you type yes? So I want to get our reaction. If you have done something around data validation in Excel, yes, okay. Brenda said yes. Okay, yes. Okay. Yeah, data validation. Okay. So when we talk about data constraints in SQL, it is very, very similar to data validation in Excel. Hello. So what I'm saying is that data validation, data constraint, or SQL constraint, or some people even call it data integrity, right? Whenever you're hearing data integrity, even when we talk about data quality, you'll be hearing data quality, data integrity, data validation. It revolves around SQL constraint or data validation. Because what you're trying to say here is that we want to ensure that our audience or the person imputing the data into the database, they are imputing what? The right data. Are we getting it? You are ensuring that what? That they are imputing the right data into the database or into your tables or into your record. You are enforcing them to ensure that because, for example, now we are trying to compute your record, all your quizzes. We want to try to create like a student record for everybody. But when we are trying to do all this recording, right, we are having a lot of difficulties. And one of the difficulties is that one person is giving us like about 3 email address. One person is giving us name. He will write someone can write a name, first name, last name in a record. In another record, you will write last name first name second. We have a lot of data that the way people enter the data, it doesn't follow suit. there's no data integrity. There's no one way of, people inputting the data. So as a database, as someone that you are in charge of a database, you want to ensure that there is data integrity. You want to ensure that people follow the same format. It is not that, oh, you wrote Shola Allison today, tomorrow you are writing Allison Shola. No, you must ensure that, okay, your data comes the way you want it. So you can enforce a rule. That's what we call in validation. You can enforce a rules on your table to ensure that whoever is imputing the data does not input a wrong information. So those are the things that we're going to look at today. So we look at data constraints. If time permits us, we also look at data manipulation, how you can manipulate data. We talk about data manipulation command yesterday. So we'll look at data manipulation, for our session. Then next week, my other colleagues will take over the SQL class, taking you guys to the intermediate level and all. So, but today we'll look at data validation, and let's see what data validation have. What are the constraints that we have in SQL? So when you talk about constraint in SQL, we have the unique constraints. We have the foreign key constraint. We have the primary key constraint. We have the default. We have the not null. We have the check. All these are constraints in SQL. They are very similar to data validation in Excel. I know in Excel we have lists, we have numbers, we have series of things that we have in Excel. All these things to do almost similar things in SQL as well. So these are the constraints that we have in SQL: the unique, the foreign key, primary key, default, not null, check, types. These are the constraints that I'm very sure that during your data modeling in Excel, and I think I also took you guys some classes on on data modeling, where we talk about primary key and foreign key, right? We talk about primary key and foreign key. So let me know if anybody on this course still remember the difference between primary keys and foreign key. So can anybody tell us the difference between primary keys and foreign key? Primary key and foreign key. So it's something that we're also meeting in SQL now. So what is primary key? So let's try to remind ourselves. So let's know those who are following. Difference between primary keys and foreign key, and what are they doing? What is primary key doing? What is foreign key doing as well? Anybody, if you want to talk, you can raise your hand. So foreign key and primary key, it is something that we talked about before. Okay, if you can go on, your mic is up. You can talk.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Primary key is a unique key in a dimension table that is dynamic to a particular table, while foreign key is like a unique key that belongs to the another table in a fact table.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So, like I said, a primary key is a unique key in its own table.
That is, foreign key refers to is like a reference to a primary key in that table. That's what
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Ife. So the foreign key is yeah, Ife, I can hear you clearly. Yes. Thank you. Ife, can you hear me? I can hear you. Can anyone hear me? Please, can you guys
hear me?
You?
We can hear you.
Okay. If I can hear you, all right. If I can hear you, it seems that you feel like I did not hear you. I can hear you. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, like if I have explained already, foreign key and primary key is a unique identifier in its own table, while foreign key is a key in another table that is referencing is referencing the more of like when I'm trying to explain foreign key and primary key, I always like to use the model part, which is the dimension and fact table. You understand? So when you talk about dimension table, just know that we're talking about primary key. When you talk about fact table, we are talking about foreign key. So whenever you hear of unique key is a primary key, that means that table is a dimension. It is unique. And a foreign key is a fact table that it can contain multiple tables, and you can reference the key from the dimension table inside the foreign key. Okay, so let's quickly get across to our data, our SQL constraint, and why are we talking? What is the reason? Why are we talking about foreign key and primary key in SQL again? So you wonder that, oh, we talk about foreign key and primary key in Excel, we talk about it in Power BI, we are also talking about it in Excel again, in SQL again. So what exactly is the reason why these things are very are important in data analysis? It is very, very important in data analysis, especially whenever you are working with a relational database. It is very, very important that this primary key and foreign key are essential, and we need to hold them tight. Okay, so what is unique constraint? Unique constraint ensure that all values in a column combination or columns are unique, right? Ensure that all values in a column or combination of column are unique. So we have the unique, we have the primary key, we have the default constraint. So let's just dive into the practical aspect so that we'll not just be talking too much about story. So let's see how all these things, how we can operate, how all these things we can see how we can implement them in our database, right? So let's see how we can implement them in our database. Okay, so let's start afresh. I think someone said that I should create. No, so we're going to create a new database so that just to keep our memory afresh, from what we did yesterday. So we'll create another database today. So we'll create another database. Sorry, give me a second, I'm coming. Okay, so let's create a database. I'm going to create a database. Let's say create database. So let's call the database data constraints. Let's just call it data constraints. So let's call this database data constraints. So I'm going to execute. So I have execute now. The next thing I will do is I will say use what? Use data constraints. So I'm calling out the data, my database. So let's use it. Okay. So now the next thing now is to what? Is to start creating our table that we want to put inside our data constraint, right? So now let's create a table. So let's say we want to create a table. We want to create a table. We are creating table customer. We are creating a table called customer. So in this table now, I'm going to identify my column, our table structure. I explained table structure yesterday to us. So integer. So I will say, yesterday I did not talk about all this primary key and all. So today now you see that when I identify this customer ID, I put it what? Integer, which is our data type. Then I put what? A constraint, which is what? Primary key. So I put a constraint primary key. Then let's say name, or let me just say full name. Full name. So full name is what? The voucher 100. So the next one I'll say email address. Email. So email address. Let's say this one is also a voucher. Let's call this one 150. 150. So we'll call this one
Excuse me,
unique.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah, it
Please
seems
go on,
your
sir.
screen is lagging.
Okay, let me stop sharing and share again then. It's logging. Okay, so please confirm you can see my screen. I'll stop
Yes,
sharing
sir,
my
I can see
screen.
your
Can you
screen.
confirm you can see? Okay. Okay,
Yes, I
so
can see.
thank you for that notification. Okay, so you can see my cursor moving, right? Can you see my cursor moving? Can you see my cursor moving?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what I said earlier is that we are trying to create a table. Now I've identified my customer ID. You can see that customer ID I have identified a constraint here, which is your primary key and full name voucher. So let's keep adding more structure to our table. So I'm going to identify this as what? As another constraint. Check is another constraint. Check is another what? Is another constraint. So I will say age greater than 18. Then I'll close this. Yeah, let's create this table. So now we are going to create this now. So let's create it. Okay, I think this is fine. So let's create it. Execute. Okay, there is an error here because I did not put a comma. Can you see? In SQL, even a little things that you did not observe can be a problem. Because I did not put just a comma here, that is why this thing does not run successful. So I have to make sure that I put a comma here, and let's try it now. So execute. Can you see? We have created our customer table. So let's do a select all from customer. So select all from customer. Then let's execute. So you can see now that we have our structure. This is structure. So we have our structure. Now let's do an insert into our table. Okay, because of time, I might not be able to be running all this one after the other. So let me just try to, let me see if I can copy. I have a script already. So let me open a script that I have all these things inside them before. So let me see if I can just, because of time, let me see if I can SQL session. Okay, should do this. Okay. So let's copy this. I'm going to copy this. So let's go back to this place. So now let's do an insert into the customer table. So we are trying to insert into the customer table, right? We are trying to insert all this record into our customer table. It's the same structure that I created that I want to insert now. So now, this is just some of the examples that we did yesterday. So, but before I insert it, let me check something here. Okay, so let's go on. Let's go on. So let me try to insert, execute. So can you see? Please, can you confirm you can see my screen? Please, can you confirm
Yes,
you
I
can
can
see
see your screen. Yes, I can see your screen.
now? Okay, so now can you see something here? He's saying that if you say that this error, when I try to insert this record, it's telling me what? Violation of what? Primary key constraint. Don't forget, what are we talking about today? Constraint, right? Now it's talking about what? Violation of what? Primary key constraint. PK customer, you cannot, it's telling us that what? Cannot insert duplicate key in object DBO. The duplicate key is what? Is 3. Now, if you look at our value that we want to insert, our customer ID, can you see 13345? Now, let's assume that maybe you are trying to insert a record into your customer table. Meanwhile, maybe you did not know that someone else have, maybe you made a mistake, right? You put 3 instead of 123. Now, because you have already identified customer ID as what? As a primary key. That is why it's telling you that no, you cannot insert a duplicate information. And don't forget, we said that primary key is what? Is a unique identifier. That is why you are getting this error message. Someone asked me yesterday that, is there no way we can do it in SQL that you can get an error message that will prompt you that, oh, you are doing something that you're not supposed to do? These are where you can, these are the errors that you can get that can notify you that no, you're not doing something right. You understand? So you can see now let's try to change this. Let's change it to 2. Maybe because we made a mistake, we realize that we have made a mistake. Okay, so now there's something else that I want us to check to see here. So let's try to insert this as well. Execute. Now, can you see again another error prompt up? Not the same error at this time. Not the same error. Now, what error are we violating now? Violation of what? Unique key constraint. Can you see? Violation of what? Unique key. Before, our error was showing us that we violated what? Primary key. Now, the violation that we violated now is what? Is unique key. Now, where do we have unique key? Unique. We have unique on what? On our email address. What are we saying here is that maybe you are trying to enter a database. Now, maybe I enter James Smith, James Smith at example.com. There is another person, maybe, the person also have like a similar name, maybe but different email address or something. We also enter the same email address for that person, but different person, not the same person. You understand? So we have already identified that email address to only contain what? A unique identifier, right? Unique is different from primary. They do almost the same thing, because the next question that someone will ask me is that what's the difference between primary key and a unique? Primary key and a unique, they do almost the same thing, but when it comes to to their functionality, it's not the same, right? The unique function is also going to look for, okay, the values here must be unique. Primary key 2 is going to say that, oh, the primary key must be unique. But one thing about primary key is just that it's just an identification. It's an ID that, oh, if I call out 1, who am I calling? Oh, I'm calling John. If I call 2, who am I calling? I'm calling Jane. You understand? That is what the primary key is doing. The same thing, functionality that primary key do, unique key 2 will also do it. But when it comes to what we are using the primary key to do is different from what the unique is doing. That is just the difference between them, right? Now, you can say that we are violating what? A unique key constraint here. Now, how do we fix it? Oh, maybe this person is supposed to be James, or maybe we made a mistake in the name, or it's supposed to be James Smith. Maybe the name is supposed to be James Smith. Let's just assume that the name is James Smith. And now maybe in our email address, the email address is supposed to be James Smith instead of James Smith, because we already have a James Smith here already. You understand? So now let's try to insert this record. Let's try to insert it. Now, can you see another constraint issue has come up? Now, what is the issue now? The insert statement conflicted with the what? With the check constraints. Now, how many problems have we encountered today? 3 problems. Now, the first one is what? Primary key. Second one is what? Is the unique key. The next one is what? Is the check constraint. It is a different problem. Check constraint. Now, where do we have a check constraint here? When we are defining our table structure, we said what? Age must be greater than what? Must be greater than 18. Right? We said what? Age must be what? Must be greater than 18. Meanwhile, in the record that we want to insert, we have someone that the age is 18. That means that the person is, assuming that we say that, okay, age is equals to or greater than 18, this violation will not have encountered this error, because we have said that equals to 18. But because it is not greater than 18, that's why we are having this constraint violation issue again here. So we need to make sure that we correct this violation or constraint also here. So let's say, what this is just telling us is that maybe when you are entering a database, we know that our customers, whatever we are selling, someone that is 18 or under 18 must not patronize us. We don't want to have a customer that is 18 years. Maybe there are some product that it is always labeled 18 plus, right? It is always labeled 18 plus. We don't want someone. Now, when someone is not trying to enter a database and someone is not putting 18, you will now look at how can someone that is less than 18 purchase a product from us? It must not happen. Maybe there is a wrong information that is being recorded or something. So you need to ensure that, okay, you put a violation or a constraint on your database so that whoever is entering the record does not enter a wrong information. So let's say this particular person is 19 years old now. Now let's try to insert this record. Insert. Now, can you see 5 rows affected successfully? We do not have any issue because we are not violating any constraint issue again. Everything is now successful. Now let's try to run a select on our table to see our record. Select from customer. So select all from customer. Let's try to run it and execute. So can you see? Can you see all the record? Any question from anyone? Any question from anyone? Any question from anyone? If you don't have any question,
I have a question,
Okay,
sir.
please go. Please go on,
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Sir, you see that in the primary key, you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now, instead of us always writing the numbers, is there any way that we can make it so that it can just be increasing by itself, since it's just increasing 1, 2, 3, just be increasing by itself without us writing the unique identifiers like that? Is there any way we can do it?
So what you're trying to say now is that you want to, so what you want to do is to automate this,
Yes.
to automate it, like to automate the process, right? Now,
Yes,
for
sir.
you to do that, for you to automate it, right? So you might need to use some other software like SSIS. So they call it SQL Server Integration something. So maybe when you want to be automating the record to be coming in, without doing manual work, right? You can do that.
Yes, sir.
You get. But if you are doing a manual process like the way we are doing it now, you have to write it yourself. You have to write it,
Oh,
unless you just want to go and generate one random code. If I say that, okay, if I take this record now, right? Let's say I just take
yeah.
this record. Let me do something. I will just take this record. Let me just say I take this record to ChatGPT now. Let me say I go to ChatGPT and I say, ChatGPT, please. Let me say I will just say give me record from 6, let's say 6 to 20. Give me record from 6 to 20. Now, if I just use ChatGPT, maybe I just want to populate. I don't want to be writing it myself one after the other because I feel like it's stressful for me to be doing all this manual process. But if you are working with a real data, you cannot be doing all these things. You understand? It's just because this is a text data that we are just practicing. Now, let me try to what ChatGPT have recommended for. Can you say that ChatGPT have even in less than 2 seconds or 5 seconds, ChatGPT have recommended a lot of data for us that I don't have to manually be doing. But what you are suggesting, it can be achievable, but it is called automation. You understand? It is called what? Automation. You have to automate the process. Maybe when a new record comes in, you will not be the one that will come and be writing it on database. Whenever there's a new record that is coming, maybe wherever the data is being generated, whether it is from YouTube or from Twitter, or even if it's a manual process, there's a way you can automate it that you don't come here to come and be writing data, manually every day. No, there is a way that you can automate the process, right? Now, maybe you just want to quickly generate something. Like now, you can see that I use ChatGPT to generate this thing. So you don't need to be doing manual work. So let's just remove from the 5th record. So let's remove from the 5th record so that you don't have a duplicate record. So let's remove from the 5th record. Okay. So let's try to insert this. Execute. Customer name. Okay. What do we have here? Okay, we have full name here, not customer name. So full name. So we just need to do some editing. Full name. Then this one is what? Email address. Okay, so let's try to insert and see whether this will work. It's supposed to work anyway. So can you see 15 rows affected? So, I don't have to come and be doing. So you can always recommend, use ChatGPT as well. Select all from customer. You don't have to be doing all these manual process work. So if you do chat, you can see now that we have how many record? We have up to 20 record. Can you see? 1 to 20. Can you see? We have up to 20 record instead of the 5 that I just brought in myself. So you can see. So that is one way. We talk about different constraints and all. So we don't really need this one, just for example purpose anyway. So we talk about those constraints and those constraints that we have. So we have the primary key, we have the the unique key that we talk about, then the check key. So now let's talk about, should we do one more example? So let's just do one more example. Let's create one more example. So let's just talk about the check again. So let's say, let's do one more example on this. So let's say create table products. So now let's say product ID, let's say integer primary key, right? Primary key, product name, let's say product name, varchar, this is 150. The next one is price, so integer, so let's say check what? Price greater than 0. So now, okay, let's close this one. So let's create this table. So let's create this table now. So we have created this particular table, which is product table, right? So let's select from products. Now you can see now that we have our table structure. So let's just go here and bring in this value because of time, so that I will not be writing values. So let's just insert. Now let's try to insert this record. So I want someone to tell me the errors that we have here. So what error are we having here? It's just one single error that we're having. So you can tell us the errors that we're having. Anyone? Okay, Ife, please go on. If your hand is up, please can we have a link to watch all the recording after you are done? Ife, I think you want to say something. Can you go on? Okay, product price. Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
the product price. Yeah.
The product price
Okay.
is 0.
0. Yes. So we need to ensure that the product price is greater than 0. So let's just say the product price is even 10. Let's just say 10. So now let's try to insert now. So execute. So can you see 3 rows affected? And let's try to do a select from here. So can you see we have the record that we want to insert? Okay, so that is that on primary key constraint, check constraint, and unique constraint as well. So let's take a look at 2 other more constraints before we move on to the next topic that we'll talk about today. So let's look at the default constraints. So what is default constraints? So let's look at the default constraints. Okay, so let's look at the default constraints. So now let's create a new table. Create table region. Let's create a table called region. Then we'll define this one as what? Region ID. So region ID, integer primary key. Then we define a city varchar, let's say 100. Then we say not null. If it is not clear, kindly call my attention. If this is not clear, let me know. So country. Let's define country as varchar as well. That is let's say 150 as well. So now the next one is what? Continent varchar. So let's say this is 100, and we call this one default. So we say default is what? So let's say 0. Okay. So now Okay, so now what we are trying to do here is we are creating a table called what? Region. Now we define our region ID as a primary key, city as virtual. So city means that the city column must not contain what? A non-value. It must not contain a non-value. Country, virtual, continent, default. So the default for continent is what? Is Europe. So that means that if you are not putting anything in the continent for Europe, it should return what? It should just return Europe for us. If he's not saying, if you do not define the continent for Europe, for the continent, right? You should just give us Europe. That is what this means. So let's see how we can implement this. So let's create this table. So we have created this table. Now let's do a select all from the region. So let's do a select all from the region. Execute. Can you see continent and all? Okay. So now let's see how the default constraint works. So let's see how the default constraint works. So let's copy this value. Then I will explain. So let's copy this value. Let's copy this value. Okay. So now, please let's pay attention to this. Please let's pay attention. Now, when I say insert into region, now I identify. Okay, so let's do something first. So let's do something first. So if I say region ID, city, country, now let me say comma continent, right? Continent. Then in my select statement too as well. So let's say United Kingdom is what? Is Europe. Is Europe. Right? So let's say, I know Portugal is in Europe, but let's just put another continent here. So let's just say, Asia, right? Germany too is also in Europe, but let's just say I'm going to put another continent here. So let's say, let's say North America. North America, right? Okay, now let's try to insert this record now. So I want us to understand the default in the default constraint very well. So let's try to insert this record. So execute. So now I have executed this thing now. If I try to do a select all, it's going to give me the continents, Asia, Europe, North America, right? It's going to give it to me. Can you see that? It's giving me the continents that are indicated. Now, let me drop this table. I'm going to drop this table. I will drop the table, drop table, region. I'm dropping this table. Dropping a table means that I'm deleting everything, including the structure of the table, deleting all the record. Now I will recreate it again. I will recreate it again from here. So let me recreate it again, execute. So I've created it again. Now let me do a select all from the region. So you see that there's nothing here again, right? Now let me remove this continent. Please pay attention. I'm going to remove this continent from my insert statement. I'm removing what? The continent from my insert statement. Then I will remove all this one as well. All this one too, I will remove them. This one as well, I will remove them. I will remove it. I'm going to remove this one, right? Now, you will see that continent is part of our structure here. Please, I hope you guys are following. Please, can you reheart if you are still following? Can you do a thumb up if you are following? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Now, you will see that in my start statement, I did not identify continent here. Meanwhile, you can see that there's continent here, in the structure that we define. Now, let me insert this record now. So let me insert this record. You will see that I did not identify continent. So let me insert this record, execute. Can you see 3 rows affected? Now let's run this select all. Now, can you say by default, by default, it has assigned Europe to all these countries by default, because we have already defined this as a default what? Default continent, that all these continents that we want to have should be Europe. Whether we identify the column or not, it should be what? It should be Europe. I hope that is clear. It should be what? It should be 0. Now, let's see something else that will happen if we did not identify the column. Something else is going to happen if we do not identify the column in another scenario. In what? In a not null column. What is going to happen if we want to insert a record in a not null? What is going to happen? So let's see what is going to happen there. I hope we are getting the gist around these constraints now. So now let's go to not null. Let me just copy this record. So let's come here. So now we want to insert another set of record. At this point, please let's pay attention. This is what? This is not null. Not null. Constraint. So this is not null constraint. Now, at this point, we want to insert a record into the region table. Now, we say region ID, country, and continent. There's a column that is missing. Which column is missing? Can anybody tell us the column that is missing? Which column is missing?
City.
City. Thank you. Now, the city column, don't forget, when we are creating the structure of the city column, what do we say? We say what? It should not be what? It should not be null. Can you see? City varchar, not null. It means what I'm saying here is that this column must not be null. It must not contain an empty information. You understand? That's what I'm saying. Now let's assume that someone is now inserting a record, right? Someone is inserting a record, and the person have forgot that, oh, supposed to input a city column. You just put region, country, and continent. Now the person wants to insert this record now, and I do insert, and I say execute. Now, can you see? Cannot insert the value null into column city. Because what? Because of this, he said that column does not allow null. Can you see? It does not what? It does not allow null. So you must impute something inside that city column. That is what it's telling us. That city column cannot be empty. You must ensure that you put something inside it. So I think the person that asked me this question yesterday about not null, like if you want to ensure that you put something inside the column and the column is not empty. So this is the perfect answer to your question. I don't know if the person is on this call, but this is the perfect answer to your question. So you can do a constraint that is going to tell you that no, a column cannot be empty. You cannot tell me that this a continent exists and it does not have a city, or a country exists and it does not have a city. You understand? So it's telling you that no, go back to your information and go and do the right thing. So this is how you can enforce a rule. You know, you can do a validation that, oh, you are ensuring that whatever you are inputting is a correct information. You understand? So now what we just need to do here is that we need to identify the city column here. I think the city, it doesn't matter where you put it anyway. You can put it before or after. So we just need to identify the city now. But we need to arrange it in our, okay, city is after region. We need to arrange it in our, formatting so that we don't get it wrong. Okay, so now city, I know there is a city called Lagos in Portugal. There's a city called Lagos in Portugal, so let's just say Lagos. Okay, so Monaco, I'm not really familiar with that, but let's just say Monaco. I think Monaco is even a city on its own self. Then that's the capital of Monaco as well. So let's say Monaco. So now Monaco is a city in Monaco, just like the way we have Kano, Kaduna. So something like that. So we have Lagos in Portugal as well. So now let's try to insert this record. Now, can you see that we do not have that error that is giving us again? So it has enabled us to say that, oh no, that city column cannot be null. It can never be empty. You must ensure that you put a particular information in that. So please, I hope we all understand these constraints that we just discussed. I hope we understand the whole constraint issues, the whole constraints and all. So if you don't understand the constraint, can you please, raise your hand? You want me to clarify, before we move on to the next one? Do you have any question? Any concerns? Any questions? No questions? Okay. Thank you, guys. If there's no question, can you type no questions? So just to know that everybody stay following. Just type no question, so that's, or you can thumb up as well. You just thumb up there so that you just get a reaction from you guys. Okay. Thank you. Can we enter more? What is it? Sorry, someone said it. Someone has a question. Can we enter more than one constraint in a column? I don't get that question. So what do you mean by more than one constraint? Are you saying I didn't really get that question. But if what the person is saying is that more than one constraint, I think we did an example. I'm coming. I guess what the person is asking is that can we have more than one constraint on a particular column? Maybe I think what the person is trying to say is that maybe a particular column, city, you have it as a not null, and it can also be unique. I think that's what the person is trying. I think that's what the person is trying to.
Yes, I think that is what the person is trying to say.
Yeah. Okay, so well, it's possible. It's possible, but I don't really know the scenario. I've not really had a scenario where you want to have a double constraint, but it should be possible. Yeah, it should be possible. You can just try it, maybe whenever you're trying to practice. But I think I understand what you're trying to say. Maybe for example now, like this particular country, you want a country to be unique. You want a country to be unique, and you also still want it to be, let's say which other, or you also still want it to be not null. I think it's possible. Yes, it's possible. It's possible. Yes, it's possible. You want a country to be unique and also not null. Yes, it's possible. You can have a double constraint on a single column. Yes, it's possible. It's possible.
But
Yeah.
sir, can you have that country to be unique and default?
To be unique and default. It's not possible.
Default.
That's not possible.
That
That's
one will not be
logically
possible.
is not possible. Yeah, the logically is not possible, because a unique is to have a unique value in a column, and you now want it to be a default again. It's not possible. You can make it unique and not null, but you cannot make it a unique and default again. It's not. It won't work. It's not going to work. Even when you are defining it here, by the time you write your script, it will just throw an error that it's not possible, that there's a violation of unique constraints. You understand? So, but in some scenario, some constraints might work with one another, but some might not work with one another. So let's quickly look at the last constraint that we want to talk about today, which is what the foreign constraint. We are talking about the primary key and every other one. So let's quickly look at the foreign key. So let's look at the foreign key. Okay, so because of our time, I'll just copy. Let me copy the scripts. So what I will just do is that let me copy it from here. I will explain every other things from here. I'm very sure that all this one, everybody is familiar with it already. So I will just, so that you will not get confused. So now I believe everything that is written here, we all understand it. Create tables, orders, order ID, integer primary key, customer ID, integer, customer ID integer, product ID integer. Like, you understand everything that is from here to this place. Now, the only place that, and that's why I did not copy that part, which I'm going to write myself, so that you will not get, how do you get this one? How do you get that? So we are going to write it ourselves. Now, we have, that in our product table, we have already identified product ID as a primary key, right? Don't forget, when we are defining our product key, can you see product ID is what? Is primary key. In our customer table, we identify it as what? as customer ID as well as primary key. We also identify region ID. Can you see? Region ID, we identify it as what? As primary key as well. Can you see? Now, we now want to create a foreign key constraint. We have another table called the others table. Don't forget, this table is what? You can tell me what type of table is this table going to be? What type of table is this table going to be? This others table, what type of table is it going to be? When we talk about data modeling in Power BI, in Excel, thank God I'm part of the people that taught you. So if you say that did not teach you, I can say that that's a no because I mentioned it. So what type of table in a modeling format, in a modeling, are we going to call this other table? What type of table are we going to call it?
Fact
Anyone?
table.
Fact table, yeah,
Fact
God bless you.
table.
So fact table. So because you can even see that we have some other, keys inside it, like customer ID, product ID, region ID. Anytime you are seeing region ID, product ID, you should know that that particular table is a fact table. Now, let's talk about constraints here, which is the foreign key constraint. Now, to create a foreign key constraint, you have to define those constraints, right? So now, after you have defined all the things that you want to put here, your customer ID, product ID, order date, quantity, region ID, everything. Now, the next thing to do is now to define our constraint. Now, to define our constraint, we say constraint. So you say constraint after your last comma, constraint. So let's first define the customer key constraint. So let's say FK, which is foreign key underscore customer, then we say foreign. So we say foreign key, just like the way we define primary key. So we say foreign, okay, foreign key. Sorry. We say foreign key. Can you see? Constraint FK. This FK is we are just defining is like a variable or parameter that we want to reference customer ID, right? We want to reference customer ID in our customer table. So we just say constraint FK customer foreign key. Then we say that what? So in our other table here, can you see? So just copy this one, just copy it and put it here. Copy it and close, right? Then we'll now say reference what? So now say what? Reference what? We want to reference what? Our customer table. Reference what? Reference customer table, which is what? Customer ID. Make sure that the customer ID that you are writing here is exactly the way you write it in your customer table. So can you see customer ID? Make sure that it is the exact way you write it there. You're also writing it here as well. You understand? Now let's say comma. So say comma. Okay. Let's say comma. So the next one we say that we also define another constraint. So we define another constraint. So we define another constraint. Let's say FK underscore what? Underscore product, just like the same way. So we say foreign what? Foreign key. So we call this one to product ID. Now, product ID. So we reference, so let's reference our product table, reference products, right? So we say product what? Product ID, right? Reference product ID, comma. So let's do the last one. So I will just copy this one because of our time. Let me just copy this and paste. So this one will change it to what? To region. So let's change this one to what? To region. We'll call this one region ID. So let's say region ID. Region ID. Then we'll reference our what? Our region table. So we reference our region table. Then this is what? Region ID. Okay. So now let's try to let's try to run this now. Let's try to run it. Execute. Now, can you see that we are having an error? Can anybody tell me why we are having an error here? I want someone that can see very well to help me to identify why we are having an error.
Region ID is supposed to be region underscore ID.
God bless you. God bless you. I intentionally do that so that we will show that, because some people will now start writing it and they I'm getting an error. What is the issue? You understand? In your region, in your other table, you see that it is region underscore ID that you put here. Now, when you are writing your own, you not put underscore, it's going to throw an error. In your region table too, let's go to our region table. Our region table, when we define it, can you see it is region underscore ID? So you must make sure that it is exactly the way you write it. You also put it when you are referencing it. So you region the underscore ID. Now let's execute this. So let's execute it. Can you see complete successfully, right? Now let's try to insert one or two record inside it. So let's insert some record. So let's insert some record in our region table. So insert into others value. So let's just insert this record, execute. So can you see 3 rows affected? Sorry, give me a second. Okay, so can you see that we have 3 rows affected? Now let's quickly add one more row so that we can have like a duplicate information. We can have more than one record. So let's insert this particular information as well. Okay, so let's insert this as well. So execute. Okay, so now let's do a select all. Select all from others. So can you see the record that we have? Can you see? Can you see that we have all our records? Any questions so far? Any questions? Any question from anyone? Before we move on, any question? Any question? Any question? If there's no question, can we jump
Hello,
up?
sir.
No question.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Well, I don't really understand the referencing you used there.
What is it?
The references you used, I don't really understand them.
Okay, sorry, give me a second. Something. Sorry, coming. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, you said you did not understand the references. Okay, so which parts? Where exactly you did not understand?
This particular references here, and yeah,
Yes.
this one's here. So I don't really understand how they come in.
Okay, so now, what we are trying, in Power BI or in Excel, so when you want to, can someone explain, if you want to create a relationship in Power BI, what will you do? You will go to the model tabs, right? You are going to what? You are going to drag your primary key to your foreign key, right? To create a relationship. Is that not what you will do? Confirm. Is that not what you are going to do? Or you go to your manage relationship and create a relationship between the primary keys and the foreign keys. Is that not what you're going to do? Can you confirm that in Excel or Power BI?
Yes.
Is that how?
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly the same thing. So in SQL, what we are trying to do here is that we are writing a script for it. Do you understand? We are what? We are writing a script. We are writing what? We are writing a script for it here. That's what we are doing. So we say that what? Constraint. We don't define a parameter. This is like a, sorry. So yeah, this is like we defining a parameter. Like we are defining a parameter here. Okay, we say that FK customer. Now, this FK customer, what does it mean? It's standing for what? For this customer ID here. Can you see? This FK customer that we have here is standing for this customer ID that we have in this other table. Now, we define it as what? Foreign key, which is what? Customer ID. Can you see? Customer ID. This is the customer ID. Now, we are now saying that go and reference what? The customer table. This customer here is the customer table. Now, the customer table has what? Customer ID inside it. Now, let's go back to our customer table. Now, in our customer table, can you see? Create customer ID. Can you see? Now, coming back to this place where we reference it, we are just referencing this customer here. We are referencing what? The customer table, because in our customer table, we already defined this customer ID as what? What did we define this customer ID as? Hello? Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
So what do we define this customer ID as in our customer table?
1 now.
What is it?
I said we define it as 1 now.
As what?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go on. I can hear you.
I said, was it not 1? Customer ID.
You're not getting the gist. Can someone tell me what we define customer ID as in the customer table? If
Okay,
I want to know whether
as the
someone is
primary key. Sorry.
exactly. That's what I want to hear. As what? As customer key. As what? As primary key. We already define it as what? As primary key. If you check it, see something. When I over this thing, when I over it, can you see what SQL confirm? It said that column customer ID PK, which is what? Primary key integer. You can see primary key integer, not null. It's even telling you that is what? Is a primary key already. If you come to this place now, if you come to this place, it's not telling you that this one is a primary key. Can you see column customer ID integer null? It's not telling you that this place is what? Is a primary key, because it's not seeing it as a primary key. Is what? Is a foreign. It is this place that we are now defining it as a what? As a foreign key. Do you understand the concept?
Yes, I think I do.
Yeah, it's, I understand. It's not something that you can easily grasp, just in a single class. You have to, go over it and go over it again. But what we are trying to talk in essence is that when you define a primary key earlier, if you do not define this as a primary key, you will have issues here. You won't be able to reference it. It is only when you define it as a primary key that you can reference it. If not, you won't be able to reference it, right? So the constraint here is just that, you want to reference, you create a variable here, which is your FK or parameter something. This FK customer foreign key just reference this customer ID. This one to reference this customer ID. Then we are now referencing what? The primary key in our. Now, what is the essence of this thing? What is the essence of this? Can anybody tell me why we are doing this? We are creating constraint. It's because of what? It's because of a model. Because what? We want to create a model here. So I'm going to show you now how to create a model in SQL as well. You can also create a model here as well. I hope you all know you can create a diagram model, because the essence of doing this is to create a model. We want to model our data, because what? We call it a relational database. All your data, they are related. If they are not related, we don't need to be creating foreign key and primary key here. The essence of doing all these things is to be able to create a model with it. Now, let's see how we can create a model. So I will go to my, let me refresh this case. I'll go to database. Then I will go to my, where is it? Data constraints. These are data constraints, right? So let's open the database. Now you see database diagram. Can you see database diagram? Now let's try to open the database diagram. You can see this database does not have one or more of the supports required to use database diagram. Do you wish to create them? I will say yes. Yes, I want to create them. Now let's create. I think it's still coming up. Let's wait. If it doesn't come up. So let's see. If it doesn't come up, So let me so let's see. Okay, so let's create so just right click on new database diagram. So click on new database diagram. Now, can you see all the tables that we created? The customer table, the orders table, the product table. Now, let me add them. So let's add them to the diagram view. So let's add them. I'm going to add them. Let's add them. Let's add them. You can also create all these things too in Postgres, because I've used Postgres before, but I've not used my SQL to do all these things, but I know you can do it in Postgres. So can you see now, the essence of creating those primary keys and foreign key is to what? Is to create a model. I'm very sure this is not something that is going to be new to you again, because I believe that you have done it in Power BI, you have done it in Excel too before. It's just to create what? Is to create something like a star schema, or so can you see? Please, can you confirm you can see my screen? Can you confirm you can see my screen? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can see your screen.
Okay. So now the purpose of creating all these, if you have not created the primary key and foreign key, you cannot create a relationship here. It's not possible. It's not going to work. It's because you have defined them as primary key and foreign key. That is why you can easily create relationship here. If not, it will not work here. You can see, you cannot create your relationship based on, okay, we have a primary key, we have a foreign key. Even if you over this, if you over it, I think it should be able to tell you, you can tell you the key that you are using. It can tell you the foreign key. Can you see? It's telling you that it's a foreign key. Can you see? So it can tell you. So this is the essence of we trying to define them as a primary key and a foreign key. Any question? Any question? If your hand is up, how do we get? Someone said, how did we get here? Sorry, where are you talking about? Where is the where? How do we get here? So which place?
Talking about the
The model. Oh, yes. Okay, so let's recreate the model then. So in case you are lost, please always pay attention in class, so that this thing will not look like a magic to us. So let's always pay attention. Okay, so let's see. Let me see if I can create this. Let me see if I can delete. Trying to see. Okay, so how do we get here? Okay, let me go back and explain that. So for the person that has that question, now we talk about constraints in money, talk about foreign key, primary key, unique key, check key, not null. We have defined primary key and foreign key. Now, someone has a question, maybe the referencing of the is not clear. And I say that the purpose of we creating a foreign key and primary key is to be able to create a model, right? That is the purpose, because in SQL, if you have not defined your primary key and foreign key here, you won't be able to create your model. And how do you create a model? Is by going to your database, right? So our database here is what? Is our data constraint, right? Then go to your database diagram, just right click on the database diagram, right click on it. When you right click on it, it will give you the new database diagram. Click on it, new database diagram. Then you will see all the tables here. Then add them. So I'm just adding them. Can you see? I'm adding them. I'm adding them. Can you see? I'm just clicking on them and adding them, add them. Now close. Then by default, you don't even need to do anything, because of you have already defined those primary keys and foreign keys. It's going to create the relationship for you already automatically. So that is how we got here. Ayomide, I hope you followed now. Any question? The relationship. Sorry, I didn't get what you mean by the relationship. Anyway. Okay, I think you got that. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Is anyone trying to speak? Samuel, are you trying to say something? Okay, do you have any question before we move on? Any question? Any question? There is no question. Can we thumb up that we understand?
Yes, I have a question, sir. Okay.
Okay, please go on. Please go on. Please someone say you has a question. Ife, I think your hand is up. You can go on now.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask something, like you were saying something about we can actually do greater than equals to a figure earlier, but I just want to know if you can just show us how to do that, like greater than equals to, like what sign are we going to use? Is it like the normal arithmetic sign, or how can we do that on SQL?
Okay, so when you talk about greater than, I think I already did one example now when we are writing the check constraint. I think I already did that already.
You only did
So let me
greater
show
than,
you.
you didn't do greater than.
What is it? Sorry, what is it?
I said you only did greater than, not greater than equals to.
Okay, you want me to do greater than or not equals to, right?
No, greater than and equals to. Like, I just want to see how we can just write that. Is it, are we writing it in words, or like
No,
I'll
you
put
can't write
in
it in.
or
You
in the
just okay. So just look at see this one now. When we define age integer check greater than. If I say greater than or equals to, just put the equals to greater than or equals to. Can you see? Greater than or equals to. We will just write both of them together. Greater than or equals to. Not like you are going to write or in between them. No, you just write greater than or equals to. If you want to write greater than or less, you just say greater than, I mean less than or equals to. Hello, if are you clear?
sir. Okay. Yes, sir.
What
Yes,
is it?
sir. That's just what I
Yeah,
want.
so
Sir.
it's not like you are going to write or greater than. No, you're not going to write greater than. You are just going to write, you're going to say greater than equals to or less than equals to. This is how you are going to write it. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
If
Thank you, sir.
all right.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Any
Yes,
other
sir.
question? All right.
Yes,
Any other
sir.
question before we move on?
Yes,
Okay,
sir, I
please
have a
go on.
question.
All right, please go on.
Sir, you said in the order table, we reference those other tables, the customer and the rest. So now,
Yes.
why entering the data in the order table, are we still going to pick the reference, the IDs from those tables to write in the insert, or they are going to automatically come into the order table by themselves?
No, you have to write it in order. You have to write it in order. You can't automatically write. So it is the way you define it in your table, the way you have to write it. You understand? This is the way you write it. This one is order ID, customer ID, product ID, order date, quantity, the region ID. So it is the way you define it in your So it is the way you write it, the way you wrote it in your order statement. That's the way you put it whenever you are inserting the record. So is that fine?
Yes, understood.
All right. Okay. Any other question? Please, where do I access the recording that I need the last weekend because of any other question? Okay, if there is no other question, okay. Okay. Time is already gone. We have 15 minutes left. This is because you guys didn't start the class on time. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Yes, there's a quiz. Yes, there is a quiz. You want to leave the call. Some people yesterday, they did not even do the quiz. Some people doesn't even care about the quiz again. So maybe we should not even be giving quiz again, sir. Because yesterday we have about over 60 people on attendance, just less than 30 or 40 people attend the quiz. I really do not understand why you attend class and you not do quiz. Maybe some people are afraid of quiz. Sure. Okay, but please let's try to do our quiz. It's just to test our knowledge. It's nothing too serious. Okay, so let's see. Well, we won't be able to do much because what I planned today is not visible enough for us again. So we are done with the constraints. we have completed those constraints and all. But what I would just advise you guys to do is that please, you have to go and do more learning on your, or you have to go and do more learning by yourself. You have to do more learning because you cannot do, if you are supposed to start this class, like you have to take you all this class in depth, like do everything in 6 months. We are not going to finish this our boot camp. You understand? We're not going to finish our boot camp. I won't lie to you. So, and you can see now that even from the perspective of, okay, we trying to do the most important things here, we realize that a lot of people the ginger that they have from the beginning is not always the same. And even if you want to we want to say, okay, let's go in depth, a lot of people will start dropping, and when people start dropping, it's not really encouraging us. Okay, so Musa, you said that the last two record is on YouTube. I don't know, it's on YouTube. Just go and check our YouTube page. Musa, you will see the recording there. Please, where can I access the recording that I made the last 2 weekends? Just check YouTube. You'll see there is on our YouTube channel. And if it's not on YouTube, just reach out to your colleagues on your WhatsApp chat and they will direct you to where you can get those recordings. So just check your YouTube channel. Check our YouTube channel, please. Or you can also subscribe so that you'll be getting notification whenever we post on our YouTube channel. Let us ensure that we subscribe to those channels so that we'll get notification whenever we Musa, I hope I've answered your question. Okay, so like I said, what I plan to do today is to look at data manipulation using SQL Server, but time is not by our side again. So what I would just advise is that you should just, I will give you the data set. I will send the data set to you. I believe that you can just follow what I put in word for word. Just try to practice them like the way it is here. Just try to insert, I'll put some, some things for you that you can easily follow. Just follow the same process. You should be able to get, and maybe if you have issues, there are some steps that you could not get, you can always reach out, drop a message for us on Discord channel, so that if you have an issue, just send a screenshot and we'll attend to it. But let's see. But let me get a response from you. If you want us to still continue, maybe like you want us to continue the class and to do 1 or 2 things on data manipulation, let me get a reaction or yes. If you are tired, just say no so that we can call it a day, because I know a lot of us are tired. Church, coming to class is not easy. So if you still want us to continue, let me hear or thumb up, yes, yes. If you are tired, let's say we can postpone it to whenever. Okay, I think I'm getting some response already. Some people are saying yes, yes, okay. Okay, so we'll continue, but let me just give me like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You guys can take just take a water. So just give me 2 minutes. I need to attend to something here. I'll get back to us. We'll continue. We'll just do 1 or 2, 3 things on the data manipulation. Then we'll do our quiz. Then we'll call it a day. So let's give me like 2, 3 minutes. I need to do something. So thank you. Okay, okay, so I'm here back. Sorry for that short break. Okay, someone is asking for the attendance. Okay, so let me drop the attendance again. Let me get the link to the attendance. Okay, I've dropped the link for the attendance. So drop the link to the attendance. Okay, so let's quickly let's just do one or two example under the data manipulation. Then we'll call it a day. So let me share my screen. Please confirm you can see my screen. Please confirm you can see my screen.
I
Please
can see
confirm
your
you can see.
screen, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
now
I
let's
can
talk
see your
about.
screen.
All right. So let's talk about data manipulation. So what is data manipulation in SQL? So now I'm very sure that we are familiar with data transformation in Power BI, in Excel, right? Does anybody know what data transformation is? Or can someone explain data transformation to us? If Daniel, or anybody that want to help us out, you can just drop what data transformation is, what you understand by data transformation. What is a data transformation? Or data cleaning, some people call it data cleaning, some people call it data wrangling. If you are a data scientist, they call it data wrangling in data science. In Power BI Excel, they call it data cleaning or data transformation. In SQL, we call it data manipulation, or it's also called data transformation as well in SQL as well. So if we understand the concept of, okay, if I go on.
Okay, I think it's when we transform data into Power Query to either clean or adjust some things in the data.
Yeah, God bless you. So the data manipulation, data cleaning, it depends, Some people will call it data manipulation, some people will call it data transformation, some people will call it data cleaning. It's still everything we are still talking about is the same. When you say manipulation means that you are manipulating things, you are changing the way things are. It is no longer in its original format. It is now what in another format, in another shape. You understand? So when we talk about data manipulation, data, someone will say, oh, how will I do data cleaning in SQL? How will I do data transformation in SQL? Can I do data transformation? Some people does not even know that you can do data transformation in SQL. Their own thought is just that, oh, we can only do data transformation in Power BI or in Excel. No, you can also use SQL to do data. For me, anytime I want to do a project that has to do with big data, I will even prefer to use SQL to do my data cleaning instead of using Power BI or Excel, right? I prefer to use SQL to do data cleaning, data transformation, everything that you can think of doing in Power BI, Power Query, you can also achieve them with SQL as well. You can achieve them with SQL, but because of time limits, we won't be able to do most of all these things. So we just do just do a very few things here. So what I will just do is that okay, so I'm going to use another data, the same data, but I will have to ingest the data again. So I will have to ingest the data again. So sorry, this session will end by 4:20. So let's just be time conscious. I will make sure that by 4:20 we are done with this whole section. So anything that's say no, I'm not saving it. Anything that we do by 4:20 will be done, will be close. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. So let me ingest Or let me create a new database. So let's just create a new database. Create database. To create database, let's say Datakliq sales. So let's create a database called Datakliq sales. Okay, so now another way to ingest data, where is the database? So okay, so this is our database, the one that I just create now. So let's ingest. Sorry, my system is sorry, my system is lagging. We won't be able to do this thing to do like this. Okay, it's fine. Let's. I don't know. Something is wrong with my system. Okay, it's fine. Let me try to. Let me see if we can make use of this existing database. Let's try to use the other one. This one that we have here. Okay, so let's look at our documentation. Okay, so now when we talk about data manipulation, insert into, I'm very sure it is not something new again. We are used to the insert into before. Insert into is also a data manipulation. It's fall under data manipulation, right? So I'm not going to talk about that. Updating record. I believe that we did one updating record. So now let's assume that, okay, so let's just copy. Let me copy this. So let me copy this and let's go to our database. So now we have a product table. So let's say select all from products, execute. Now, okay, so now we have a product called product one, product ID one, and product ID one is what is a laptop, right? And the price is $799. Now let's assume that maybe something have changed. When we talk about data manipulation, we say that data manipulation is what we changing the state of things. We are trying to manipulate, trying to change things the way they have before from the original state to another state, right? Now we have a product called what? Called product one, and the product ID is what is product ID one, and product ID one is what is a laptop, and the price is what is $799. But now the price of that product has changed. Maybe from $799, the price is now what is now $749. Now we want to update in our database. This particular product has changed. It is no longer $799. It is now $749. So how do we change it? How do we update it? How do we manipulate it? So now we say what? I don't need to write anything again. So you say update product, right? We are what? We are updating our product. So we need to change. This is a product table, not product. So we say that what? Update product, set price equals to 7499, where product ID equals to 1. Where product ID is equal to what? Is equal to 1. The reason why we are using where product ID equals to 1 is because we know that product ID is what? Is a unique identification. Now we can have another product that is bearing laptop, but maybe the laptop that I'm talking about is not, maybe it has another brand that it belongs to, but with the product ID, we should be able to identify, okay, this is product ID 1, this laptop belongs to this particular product, this laptop belongs to another particular product. I hope you understand. So now let's try to update this. Let's try to update it. So can you see one row affected? So now let's check. So can you see now from 7, I can't remember the number again. I think 799 or 7 something. Can you see that the figures have changed now to 749? Can you see that the figures have changed to 749? Are we still here? Please let me confirm we are still here. Please, are we still here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, following.
Oh, all right, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you can see. All right, so you can see that the when we do a run process now, we can see that the price of that particular product have changed. So you can see that we can use SQL to also manipulate. You can also use it to transform to if you have unwanted character in you can use SQL to do all those data cleaning. There was a project that I did one time like that. I did a project that because of time, we won't really be able to. Maybe I will just show you at the end of our section. I'll show you some things that I did on that project and how I clean it with SQL as well. So let's quickly look at some other manipulation that you can do. You can also remove. You can delete. You can also delete. So let's look at delete. You can also delete. You can delete. So let's look at how we can delete an information. So let's say select all from customer. Select all from customer, execute. So can you see now? We have 20 records now. Now let's assume that maybe some information, we enter some information that, we need to delete some information. Maybe we want to delete from, let's say from customer ID 15 and 20. Maybe they are no longer our customer again, and we don't want to keep their record. Maybe, our business does not want, we don't want to keep some specific information again, maybe because they are not our record for the past 10 years, they have not been patronizing us and we want to remove them from our database, right? So we can also delete. We can say, delete from customer, where customer ID, let's say between, I'm going to use between now. I'm going to say between what? Between 15 and what? And 20. Okay, I think someone is asking me a question the other time. Whether you are going to I think someone asked me a question about greater than or less than, whether you are going to write greater than or less than. Okay. I think I understand why you're asking that question now. So I don't know, maybe in some other RDBMS, you might be able to write it in full, but in SQL Server, I'm not really sure that you can write it in full. Just like if you want to write greater than, you have to use the symbol to do that. But when you want to write, maybe in the next class, we'll talk about all this between and clause. They will explain it to you. Sorry, I won't be the one to explain to take that class. Another person is taking those classes, but they will explain all this between and some clauses. They will explain it to you in your next class. So now, delete from customer, where customer ID between 15 and 20. We always use customer ID because it's a unique identification. We cannot say, we should use full name. If you want to say full name, someone can be bearing Linda Taylor that doesn't fall between 15 and 20. Hello, are we following? Hello, are we following? Are we still following?
Yes, sir, we are following.
Okay. All right. Now, we use ID because it's a unique identification, right? Because if you use full name, someone can be bearing Ifeoluwa Esther. 2 people or 3 people can be bearing Ifeoluwa Esther on this call. Now, I want to delete a particular Ifeoluwa, not the other Ifeoluwa, right? Now, if I now say, delete full name, where name equals to Ifeoluwa, it means that I'm doing what? Wherever you see Ifeoluwa, just delete it. If I have 5 Ifeoluwa, different people, different parents, different countries. Now it means that I'm deleting all the Ifeoluwa in the record. But if you use a unique identifier is now going to say, this is the particular Ifeoluwa that you are deleting. The one that is customer ID 20. The one that is customer ID 15. You understand? So now here we want to delete a record of customer that are from customer ID 15 to 20 because we have realized that these customers that fall between this range, they are not longer our customer. Maybe for the last 10 years, they are not patronizing us again. Now we want to remove their information from our database, right? So I'm going to say delete from customer, where customer ID between 15 and 20. So let's try and delete this. Execute. Now, can you see 6 rows affected? Now let's try to execute. So now you say that we have how many record of information? Can you see 14? because we deleted from between 15 and 20. Between 15 and 20. You see that from the customer ID 15 to 20 now, we don't have those information again. We have changed the record. We have manipulated our data. I hope you understand. So please, let's quickly, we need to be fast because of our time. We need to be fast. Now, let's also talk about select into. I'm sure that, you know, since we have been talking about data creation, data manipulation, we talk about only insert into. There's also select into. There's also what? There's also select into. And what does select into do? You know, you might not need all these things now, but maybe later when you started doing a project, especially when you are working with organization, that is when you will need all these things that we're talking about. Now, select into, what it's going to do is that it's going to create a new table for you. Now, let's see an example. Select into is going to create a new table. Now, let's assume that I have this table, customer table, right? I have this customer table. Now, I want to create a new table that is also customer table. But maybe what I just want is that I want a replicate of this table. I want a replicate of this table in another table. I don't know whether you are getting it. This particular table, I only want to clone this table into another table. I want to clone it. So you can use the select into to do that. So let's see what I'm talking about. Now I want to create a table called new customer table. So I can say select into new customer, right? This is a table called new customer. Select into new customer. I will now say what? From customer. So sorry, please give me a second. Okay, so now select all. Now, select all means that I want to select all the columns. Now, let's assume that, okay, let's not even select all. Now, I have a table customer. You know, inside this customer table, that is where we have customer ID, full name, email address, age. Now, let's assume that I just want to create customer ID. So let's say select customer ID, comma, full name, comma, then let's say email address, right? Email address. Now, I don't want this age column. I don't want the age column. I only want to create a clone of this, but I only want to select customer ID, full name, and email. I don't want age. Now, I want to create it in a what? In a new column called what? New customer. Now, let's run this. Execute. So can you see 14 rows selected? Now, let's do a select. Select all from new customer. Now, can you see now that I have cloned a table now? I have created a new table. This new table now does not have the age column. Now, let me just say, let me remove this new to have just our old customer table. Now, our old customer table has age column, but our new table does not have what? Does not have the customer table. So you can use a select into to also recreate a table, to create a new table. You understand? Instead of saying, oh, insert into, you know, what we have been using since yesterday is what is insert into. You can also use select into to create a new table from an existing table. I hope that is clear. Is that clear? Do you have any question? Any question? Someone has a question. Sorry, let me check. This why is it the updated price showing 7.49 when it put and it's entered to not 499? I guess it has to do with the data type. Yes, Edwin. Yeah, Edwin is right. So Edwin is right because the data type that we define is an integer initially. It is not a decimal. So that is the issue there. So I hope Omolola, I hope the answer that Edwin gave, you catch up with that. So any question before we move on? Any question? Any question? Okay, so if there's no question because of time, so okay, Brenda Brenda, let me allow you to speak. Brenda, the mic, you have the mic.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Brenda.
Yeah, I was like, I'm seeing this. It's more related to like import range in a way in Excel, where you can get that table, but with selected columns that you want to have on another table.
Yes. You
Okay.
can most of all these things, you can also achieve it in Power BI, you can achieve it in Excel, you can do the whole manipulation that we are talking about here is achievable in SQL, in Excel and Power BI as well. So it's just like, oh, let's see how it is being done in SQL. So because of time, so please,
Yeah.
I will advise you to please go through these documents, try them out. I've put it is very simple to also do. You can copy them. I will try as much as possible to send the data set for you guys to to do all these things. So you can try it. If there's anyone that you did not understand, you did not get, you can get back to me. So, but before I go, let me just show you, because it's good for you to know that something can be done. And when you know that something can be done, so some people don't know, oh, this thing can be achieved. You feel like, oh no, I've not done it in SQL before, but it is achievable. So let me just quickly show you, at least one of the most dirtiest data that I've cleaned with SQL. So let me show you. I have one data here that is very dirty that I use SQL to, let me see, Web3. I hope I have that data, please. Okay, Web3. Okay, so let me run a select of staging clouds. So this is one of the, at least, is one of the most detailed data that I've worked with. Like, I know that I've used SQL to do this. And this data is very dirty in such a way that if you look at this particular column, the price column, it has some character inside it. You can see this $sign, the question mark. If I want to do a sum of the price, I can't do that. It's going to be throwing an error because this data type is not even an integer. If you look at the market cap here, we have 1.23 trillion. You cannot do any analysis. You cannot enjoy your analysis by the time you want to start doing them, right? You cannot enjoy them. But I can tell you that all the transformation process to transform them, I did them with SQL. And let me quickly show you, because of time, I want to make sure that we close by 4:20. So I use SQL to clean all the data. Let me show you the script. I'll just let me see. Let me see if I can get the scripts. Okay. So I think it should be this one. This one. So this is the script. So you can see all the things that we have been discussing about: update, alter table. These are what you will use to clean your data, to manipulate the data, right? So you can literally do all those things that you can do in. I'm just showing up because of time. We didn't start on time, and I won't be able to talk much about it. I just want you to understand that this thing can be achievable in SQL. You can use SQL to do a lot of data transformation, right? You can use it to do transformation as, I don't know which type of data cleaning that you want to do that SQL cannot do. It might not be as easy or as smooth as the way you do it in Power BI, because here you have to know how to write a lot of scripts, combine different functions together, and and all. So I just want to show that you can do a lot of transformation, not just the one that we are just doing, delete and insert into that we have been talking about. So if you want to remove unwanted character, you can do them. You can do all those things within the SQL environment as well. So I hope we have gained one or two things into this section. So this is where we will be stopping today. If you have any question, please let's ask before we call it a day. So let me get to the quiz. Let me get to this quiz so that we can. So let me get to this quiz. If you have question, please drop your question. If you have any concerns, please let's drop our concerns, please. So let me drop the quiz. Please let's ensure we all attend to this quiz, because yesterday a lot of you guys did not attend the quiz. So the quiz is just to test our knowledge. So please let's try to if you have question, please let's drop our question. If you have any question you want to speak, you can raise your hand. You can take the quiz till about 6 o'clock. So if you want to speak, you can speak. Yeah, please go on,
Hello,
Samuel.
sir.
Yeah, please go on.
Well, as at of yesterday, after the class and everything, I looked for a data set that I wanted to clean using SQL. So when I opened the data set, I saw that just like this one you have here, there were many of these question marks and this dollar sign on the entire data, almost just like this. So I did not know how to go about it, because I was like, okay. So looking at what you did here, did you just replace the these question marks with space and later trim it, or what?
When you say replace with space itself is a character on its own. So if you are replacing with space, it's going to still throw an error when you want to do aggregation and all. You understand? So there are steps that I follow, when I was trying to do my own. So, but I will just give you a clue on what to do. If you have any data that you want to clean and maybe you are finding it difficult, you can use ChatGPT. Don't stress yourself on cracking your head. Oh, how should I go about? You can just give ChatGPT a sample of, if you are working with real data now. I will not advise you to go and take your company data and put it in ChatGPT. It's not advisable, but you can just give it a sample, maybe just, create a sample of how the data is and put it in ChatGPT. And, oh, I have this particular column, it has dollar sign and it has a space, it has, comma within it. I want to remove the comma. How should we go about it? And ChatGPT will definitely give you a guide. So for, in my own case now, so what I did is that I updated the table, set price equals to replace price, and, I replace it with, not with a space. This is not a space. What I have here is not a space. It's not space. So you see that this quotation, inside this quotation, there is nothing inside it. So it's not a space. So you don't replace with it, because space is also a character on its own. You understand? It's a character on its own. So you just replace it with nothing. So that's how I was able to achieve my own and do some other. Then when you change it as well, when you replace it like that, you also have to convert. You have to convert that data type back to like an integer or to a decimal as well. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have.
Can you send us this PDF? Which PDF are you talking about, Ife? I've shared the PDF with you guys. It's on the Discord channel. You guys should just pick it up on the Discord channel. Okay, so any other question? Any question? Please, let's ensure that we attend to this quiz. Let's ensure we attend to this quiz. Any question? Any question? Okay, if there is no question, okay, so we are gradually, we are rounding up our section. Next week is the last class that we are having. So please, let's encourage one another in our various group, in our various Discord channel. Let's encourage one another. We are already coming to the end of this section already, and though it's a great journey with everyone here, but let's try to finish well as well. Let's try to encourage one another to join the live session, because the only thing that gives us joy is to see you guys coming on the live class, this form is giving an error. What is the error, please? What error? So if you are having error issue with the form, can you identify? Someone said that the form is giving an error. Is it the same for every other person? Is it the same thing for every other person? Please, if it's the same thing for every other person, let me know. So please, next week is our last class, which is our SQL last class. I won't be the one taking you the class, but please, let's try and join on time. Please, let's try and join on time. It's going to be one of my senior colleagues, that know SQL very well, will be the one to, take you the next class on SQL. And please, we are using Postgres next week. So please ensure that you have Postgres installed and it's working fine against Nest. We are not going to be using SQL Server. So we are using Postgres. Make sure that you install Postgres. We want to introduce it to Post so that it's not just only SQL Server that you are familiar with. So please let's ensure that so let me stop recording so that it won't make this session to be so long. So please let's ensure that we